Well, the fight is escalating over how to fix the Dallas Police and Fire Pension Fund, and former Mayor Tom Leppert backing Mayor Mike Rawlings. You both say it would be like hanging an anvil around the neck of taxpayers, this solution that has been proposed in Austin. What is the deal down in Austin, and how bad is it?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to say that it is in the interest of everybody to come up with a good solution that makes sense. These are our first responders. They are people that protect us on a day-to-day basis. I can tell you, when I was involved, the police and the fire these are two of the best departments in the entire nation, so you want to do that. But you also have to balance it so all of a sudden this isn't a taxpayer bailout. And there's two big issues. One is a governance issue. The way that the bill went through, or the way it sits today, governance is really kind of what it used to be when the beneficiaries were fighting themselves with problems, which is a large part of the problem. The second piece is the way it's set up. There's minimums that you're paying for officers that don't exist. The city should and is willing to pay a lot more, a third more than the contribution. The contribution today is one of the highest in the state. They're willing to pay more, but it ought to be based on the number of actual officers, not some phantom number. This is really becoming a taxpayer bailout. So for a lot of folks in the legislature that talk about being fiscally responsible and being against bailouts, this is what it's going to be. So this shouldn't all fall on the shoulders of the taxpayer.
Right. This is what the chairman and state representative from Van said. Basically, I gave you guys the opportunity, all of the stakeholders in this, the police officers, the firefighters, the retirees, City Hall, everybody a chance. And here's what he basically says. I've offered time and again for the mayor to provide workable solutions, but he has resorted to bullying and name-calling while we're working on solutions rather than focus on protecting the 10,000 police and fire retirees, members, and their families. He says spreading it out over 1.2 million people in the city of Dallas is a better solution than putting it mostly on the shoulders of 10,000 people.
Keep in mind that even under the new proposal, the city is going to pay about 3/4 of the total cost of this thing. And a lot of that is going to go to paying off the problem. The city didn't create the problem. It's important to understand that the city made their payments at a high level that was designated by the legislature, every single penny on time. So this is not an unfunded liability. The problem is because there were a lot of programs that were voted on by the beneficiaries because they controlled the board that were just at ridiculous numbers. COLAs that were twice what Social Security was. Guaranteed returns on savings accounts that were 8 to 10% above what you see in any other program.
This was one of the most generous public safety retirement programs in the country.
Yeah.
I've talked to officers in Fort Worth, and they say, well, ours is fine, but wow, what those guys were being promised was beyond belief.
That's absolutely right. The returns were just far beyond what anything could be.
And then above and beyond that, there was mismanagement. And the most visible one sits on the skyline, the Museum Tower, which was a luxury residential building. That, to a lot of people, was the first sign something was amiss. When did you become aware of this? Because a lot of this was going on behind your back when you were mayor.
That was the first time, and that was what was frustrating when we were there. I had a number of council people who attended meetings on a regular basis. They were lied to. We had asked for information, and Mike Rawlings, our current mayor, has continued to ask for information. It's never been made available. So people were lied to, and that's the unfortunate situation. It was a board that was controlled by the beneficiaries, so they voted these programs. And when you've got these high programs, then you kind of feel that you've got to make investments that give you high returns. Those became very risky. So like Museum Tower, raw land in Utah, raw land in Arizona, those sorts of things, those aren't what pension funds go into.
Where are the people who were running the pension fund? Where are they now? A lot of them are retired.
My understanding is
generously retired.
A lot of them are retired. The people who managed it, they are no longer there. So they've got new management that's in there. But again, those problems can't be a taxpayer bailout that falls on the shoulders of our taxpayers. It's got to be something that comes in both. Again, the city is willing to increase their contribution from 27.5%, which is one of the highest percentages that is paid by a city, all the way up to 34.5%, and then add $11 million a year. But that ought to be based on the actual number of officers, not some phantom number.
Quickly,
sure.
Was this a crime? Mayor Rawlings has asked for a criminal investigation. Did a
There,
crime
there are
occur?
I can't answer that, but there are people that are investigating this now. So both on the federal and the state level, they're investigating this. And I can tell you, they ought to.
But the money's gone.
The money is gone. It's about $3.7 billion in the hole, and that's because of these programs that we talked about and these bad investments. That's the majority of it.
Okay.
That shouldn't fall on the taxpayer.
Mayor Leppert, thanks.
Good to be with you.
Thanks.